Sam, you're a farrier by trade, but why are we here?
Well, we're doing a big collaboration between you guys, myself, Michael Cthulhu, who's a big sword replica. I mean, I'm talking big swords and axes and all sorts of things. And also a smaller channel who's made me what's called Damascus steel. So Damascus steel is 2 grades of steel that are forge welded together. And then we're making a blade from Battle Angel, which is a film that's being released in July this year. Big budget film. And it's just a coincidence that we started to make it and it's now coming out. But for myself, I don't have the facility to do this precision. Yep. So I found the MTD Network and thought, you know what? Send them a line, see what they can do. And here we are, a couple of weeks later, all sorted, all the drawings are done, and we're going to start making it.
Okay, so then just clarify, people who don't know, Michael Cthulhu's based in the US, and basically he's a big kid making big knives, fancy swords and things like that.
Oh yeah. He makes anything and everything. And they are fantastic, and they are real replicas. They're not just close things. These are to the precision, but all by hand. I probably haven't got the patience to do what he does. So you know what, there's a big machine here that can do most of it for me. I've still got a bit of work to do to it. So I'll do what I need to do after it's been done.
So, I mean, obviously people love what he does because about 900,000 subscribers on YouTube, so a fantastic channel. So you've come up with the idea for this Damascus sword, and how does that relate, what does it relate to in terms of Alita you mentioned?
Yeah, Alita is a Japanese animation film from years ago, but it's actually, like I say, coming out in 6 months' time as a big $200 million budget film, and it's just a coincidence, and no one's really made one of these out of Damascus, as far as I'm aware. It's called the Damascus Blade, but no one's made it out of Damascus, and I don't think anyone's made it on this proportion.
So it's a collaboration. Where did it actually start?
So it started off, the steel was made in Australia by one of my friends. He's got the facility in the workshop to do it. I haven't got a power hammer. So to try and make something that big of Damascus steel, which is basically a forge welded pattern steel, you can't do it by hand. So I called out to him and said, hey Dave, will you make me the steel? And he went, of course I will. So
yeah, he's Australian, sure, it's Davo, but anyway, moving on. So he's forged it, it's been sent over from Australia to yourself, and then what are you doing here now with Jamie?
So Jamie's cut the profile out. Before we were here, we set the machine up, did all the drawings, and then now we're going to cut it, and there we go.
So Jamie's going to be milling away there. Then what's the next step once this is done?
Okay. So the next step for me is to sharpen it. I'll put the bevels on, it'll all be done by hand on a grinder, and then I'll polish it, and then I'll harden it, because at the moment it's annealed, and then after that, once it's been hardened, obviously we're going to get oxidization. I'll polish it back again, and then if you place that in ferric chloride, you'll get the etching, the 2 different layers of steel, because one's got a high nickel content, they're both of the same carbon content. It will then create a pattern where the forge weldings take place.
Oh, is that one of the characteristics of Damascus steel?
That is the characteristic of Damascus steel. It's otherwise known as pattern welding steel. Damascus is kind of its slang term. It's a bit of a conversational point between blacksmiths and realists.
Fair enough. So once that's all done, it's then being shipped off to America?
Yeah, that'll be shipped off to Michael, and he's going to make the handles for it. So the Alita blade is basically a butterfly knife, but of 6-foot proportions rather than 10-inch proportions. So it'll go off to him, and he'll put the handles on it, and then what Michael does with his projects is he'll sell them for charity. So they'll go for big money, and usually it goes to a charity called Doctors Without Borders, which is a big, obviously, international aid thing. So it's not kind of, oh, it's in Australia or it's not in America, it's worldwide. So, you know, this is going to fetch big money. Yeah.
So it's a great example of collaboration, but also the power of social media.
Oh yeah, definitely. So I found you guys on YouTube. I'm on YouTube myself, so I thought I'll send you guys a message. And you know, social media, Instagram, Twitter, the whole lot. Most businesses aren't harnessing this, especially in the machining industry. From what I understand, you guys are the only people there, really. So you know, now I found Jamie through it. Jamie's now doing the work. You know, it's great.